Hi again guys, and welcome to episode 12 of Dirtmasters, the review series for the real rally cars that feature on Gran Turismo 6. So in this episode, as you can see, we are reviewing the Peugeot 206 WRC. This was a pretty successful car in its time, but does it live up to that real world success in the world of Gran Turismo? This is, of the Gran Turismo series, one of the most long-standing rally cars. It's been in all of the Gran Turismo games that I can remember playing. I'm not sure if it was featured in the very first game. I don't think it was. But I know it was in Gran Turismo 2, 3, 4, 5 and now 6. So it's one of the very few rally cars to have been featured in virtually every Gran Turismo game. So, is it any good against other rally cars? Well, let's go to the track and find out. Now, in terms of acceleration, unsurprisingly, I'm going to give the 206 a 3 out of 5, because at the end of the day, it's designed, as any other modern WRC car, to work on a level playing field. So all of the modern WRCs have pretty much the same kind of acceleration. Now, for low speed handling, I'm going to give it a 4, and that may actually be surprising to some people considering how well known and well liked this car is. But the low speed handling actually doesn't feel at its happiest with this car. It's a little bit heavy. Now obviously you can adjust that, but for low speed handling I'm going to give it a 4. Now for brakes I'm going to give this car a 4 also, because they're pretty good but not perfect. And for city tracks in general, again, I'm going to give it a 4. So now let's see how this car tackles a country track. Now in this series, I actually try to bring all of the rally cars onto a relatively level playing field. So as much as possible, I like to fit them all with roughly the same specifications in terms of tuning. The same suspension, same gearing, same differential, etc, etc. And with those settings, this car feels pretty good, I have to say, on a twisty country track. Now, in real life, the 206 was well known for being a good road rally racer, and it is on the game as well. Now, for country tracks, I am going to give it a strong 5 because it's very good. In terms of high-end performance, again, it's just your average WRC car, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 for that. And for high-end handling, I'm also going to give it a 4, because there is a little bit of weight to the steering, but nothing that's undrivable. So that's it for our country-based track. Now let's see if it's as good as this on a dirt track. Now, as we've said before, it is this track type that makes or breaks a great rally car, because at the end of the day, no matter how they perform on any other track type, it is this type of track that rally cars are primarily designed for. So how does the 206 perform here? Well, very well, actually. Mainly due, I would say, to its balance. It has a very well balanced chassis. The proportions of the car, where the weight is located, the width, length and height of the vehicle, all just feels very right on this model. It's very easy to use it as a rally car. It's very easy to hold your angle through corners. And it's very fun to use as well, which many rally cars aren't. Many of them are quite clinical, but this car is very enjoyable to drive, as well as being very fast and very good. So overall, for dirt tracks, I am going to give this car a strong 5 out of 5, like on country road-based tracks. Now, interestingly, Peugeot actually had to make a special edition version of the 206 in order for it to meet the WRC regulations of the time, because the wheelbase on the 206 was actually too short, which is why you have this quite large body kit fitted on the 206, which is significantly larger, especially in length, than many of the other body kits fitted to WRC cars of the time, which gives it quite a distinctive appearance, but quite a cool appearance, I would say. So overall, it's a great result for the 206 on a dirt track, which is probably not surprising to most people. But can it carry that success over to a snow-based track? Well, let's go over to Chamonix to find out. Now overall, I'm going to give this 206 a drivability rating of 5 out of 5, because although, as we said, it does have a little bit of a heavy handling issue on city tracks, overall it is a very easy car to drive. It's very beginner friendly. I say that about many of the WRC cars, but this particular model is very user friendly. It has a little bit of weight to the steering, as I mentioned, but unlike some cars, it's very easy to counteract that. Now, I wasn't expecting this car to be particularly good, to be honest, on a snow track, and mainly due to that heaviness of the steering that it sometimes has. But actually, it fares really well on a snow track. Now, as with many cars that are good on dirt tracks, it doesn't feel quite as good on a snow track as it does on a dirt track. Some cars do, but this one doesn't, to be honest, and I think the main reason for that is because of its wheelbase. Because although its wheelbase is nice and compact, which helps for dirt racing, for snow racing you need more length, really, to hold the best flow, really, through corners. And although this car is definitely not bad, I am giving it a 4 out of 5 for snow tracks, it doesn't feel quite as perfect and quite as happy as on a dirt track. So that's it for our track-based testing. Now let's go back to the garage for a roundup. Overall then, the 206 is a very good all-round WRC car. Now, it may seem to some of you, and I can completely understand if it does, that through this series I give many of these cars similar verdicts. I have similar opinions about them. I say similar things about their handling characteristics, that they're good to drive, user-friendly, beginner-friendly, etc, etc. But the reason for that is because at the end of the day, WRC cars, like with GT500 or GT300 racing cars, the restrictions are there to try and make those cars as similar as possible. So it would follow that these cars are similar in many ways. They're designed to be similar. That's what the regulations are there for, to make it more of a level playing field. So there's only so much difference these cars can have from each other, which is why sometimes the things I say about these cars and the ratings that I give them can seem quite similar. But the way in which these cars differ is in the details. Because although their weight and their power, etc., has to be within certain levels, the way that the manufacturer can go about achieving those weights and powers can vary. And that is what gives the cars their individual characteristics. It's in those details that the differences show. And with the 206, it definitely does have its own personality. And the main reason overall why I would say it does have its own personality is, I would say, because of its proportions. As we said, Peugeot had to make a specific enlarged body kit to make the car eligible for the WRC. And as a result of that, although it is a large looking car, the body kit doesn't add that much weight. So most of the car's weight is still in a very compact central area. And that does give the car very unique handling. Now, as I said, it does have a little bit of weight to the steering, which is most noticeable on city tracks. But all things considered, it's still a very good car. And as cliched as it may sound, it's user-friendly. It is a beginner-friendly car. There are certain cars which require a certain preset amount of skill in order to drive them well. Obviously, all cars require some skill, but some do require more than others. And some cars do require more practice to get the best out of them than others. But the Peugeot 206 doesn't. It's one of those cars that you can just jump in and drive fast. And it will give you good times. It will serve you very well, and it is a highly competitive car with the high potential for victory that you need from a rally car. So overall, the worst point about the 206 is probably just its low speed heaviness that it does sometimes have, as we said, particularly on city tracks. But its best point is just how good an overall package it is. It does everything you could reasonably want from a rally car very well. And overall, as a tabulation of all of its scores put together, it does achieve a respectable 4.1 out of 5, which is different to some of the other WRC cars, so it is a unique model, as all of them are in their own way. Another great thing about the 206 is its price. It's only a 300,000 credit car, so it is one of the cheaper WRC cars in the game, which also makes it more desirable and more practical overall to a potential rally buyer. So as always, I'll put this car's specs, ratings and lap times in the video description for you to compare it to the other models if you need to. And that's it for this episode, so I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.